Greetings, Iain from RDO here. Welcome to another album ranking, and it is a marathon one today. It's when we do the bigger ones, and today we have got a viewer's request, and it's for the band Nektar. Now, Nektar were formed in Hamburg in West Germany in 1969 by the founding members, who were Englishman Roy, which is Roy with an E on the end of his name, Albrighton, Alan Taff Freeman on keyboards, Derek Moore on the bass, and Ron Howden on drums. They had these performing lights people as well, Mick Brockett and Keith Walters, who sort of did all the light shows and that, but they were credited as members of the band. Now, they made quite a lot of albums, some really good ones. In 1978 they said, right, that's it, we're calling it a day. But by 1979 Albrighton and Freeman had reformed the band with Carmine Rojas on drums and Dave Prater on the bass. They hung around for a little while. They then dissolved again in 1982, regrouped in 2000, and a lineup that consisted of Albrighton, Freeman, and a drummer called Ray Hardwick. And then Ron Howden come back, but in early 2018 he left the band to found his own group, also named Nektar, based in the US. This is where it gets confusing. He asked former bass player Moore to join him, and he agreed, which was followed by Randy Dembo, Mick Brockett, who did the lights, and Ray Chandler on guitars, and they were known as the US version. And then in at the same sort of time, a Germany-based Nektar was founded, featuring Che Albrighton on drums, and it all got a bit silly, but that's the last we've heard of them. So you got a band split up, splinters, very confusing. Sadly, Alan Taff Freeman died in 2021, age 76. So we've got 13 albums as Nektar, and then we got the two splinter bands. So we're at 15 in all today. So we'll get cracking. So coming in at number 15 is the album that New Nektar released in 2018 called Megalomania. And on here we've got Alex Hofmeinzer on guitars and vocals, Klaus Henstedt on keyboards and vocals, Tom Fry on bass, and She Albrighton, which is Roy's son, on drums. And we've got a list of people playing. We've got Helen Lanzell on violin, Barbel Craven on backing vocals, and Helen does some backing vocals as well, and Sandra Cahadra on backing vocals. Okay, the first track on here is called Bad Angel. This one isn't too bad. It's a little bit poppy in places, but it's reasonable. It's 9 minutes long. Then we get the title track, Megalomania. It's okay. I've heard better. Then we get Intermezzo 1. It's a nice little acoustic number. It's not too bad. Then we get Selling the World. It's ordinary. Where do we go to? One of the better tracks on the album. It's got some nice guitar tones on there. This sort of resembles something of Nektar. Smiling Face. It's not too bad. Intermezzo, there's nothing good about it. It's just not very good. Enough. It's okay. It's a bit poppy, like the most of the album is. It's got some good points on this album, but I'm not a great lover of this one. It just doesn't do anything for me. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 14, we've got the 11th album from 2012. And it's called A Spoonful of Time. Now this is Roy Albrighton on vocals and guitars. We've got Klaus Hensch on keyboards and Ron Alden on drums. We've got Billy Sherwood, who went on to play with Yes, of course, doing some bass. We've got Jürgen Engler on bass as well. Michael Pilella on keyboards. Yes. Mark Kelly on keyboards. Jeff Downs on keyboards. And Joel Vanderbroek on keyboards. Now this album has got lots of people on it. Nick Turner on sax, Ian Pace on drums, Derek Sheridan, Sheenan, is on here, Mel Collins. There's loads of people on here. Rick Wakeman, Patrick Moraz. So this, and Ginger Baker. This is a album that's got covers on it. Now the first one is Cyrus, which is an Alan Parsons track. Pretty good version. I don't mind that at all. Then we get Rush's Spirit of Radio. Unfortunately, it's not a patch on the Rush version, although Mark Kelly of Meridian plays the keyboards on there, and that's pretty good. Then we get Fly Like an Eagle from Steve Miller. Not a bad version. Quite I've heard worse. Wish You Here from Pink Floyd. They do this justice, it's really good. And this is one that really threw a spanner in the works. For the Love of Money, OJ's. Now, if you're not quite sure, this is when Donald Trump was a TV thing and he did The American Apprentice, and this is the theme tune they used. It's got some, it's okay. It's got Nick Turner playing some saxophone and Ian Pace on the drums, so it's the only good thing about it. Can't Find My Way Home, the Blind Faith number. Second best track on this, Steve Howell, Mel Collins, and Mr. Sheeran from Dream Theater. Pretty good. 2,000 Light Years from Home, the Stones. Never been a favourite of my Stones tracks, and I don't like this version either. Riders on the Storm from the Doors. Hard to always do a good Doors cover, and they don't do a bad job. We've got Derek Sheridan on the keyboards, which is pretty good, and Billy Sherwood on the bass, pretty good. Blinded by the Light, which was a Bruce Springsteen song, and a Manfred Mann's Earth Band did a version. And it's Ginger Baker playing on this, and he does a great job. It's not too bad. Then we get Roxy Music's Out of the Blue. It's not a patch on that one. Then we get Old Man, Neil Young song. Don't like that version at all. Then we get Dreamweaver from Gary Wright. That's pretty good. I'm Not in Love, 10cc. It's a little bit more up-tempo than the 10cc version. We've got Rick Wakeman playing on here. It's alright. Then we get Africa. Toto. Don't like it at all. So this is another of those cover albums that just really didn't work. Out of the 14, only 6 really worked, I think. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 13. Now this is the 8th album from 1918. It's Man in the Moon. Only originally released in Germany, but it's their first album for a little while. And the people on here are Roy Albrighton on guitars, Alan Taff Freeman on the keyboards, Carmine Rojas on the bass, and Dave Prater on the drums. First track on here is called Too Young to Die. Love the start of this. I love that lovely keyboards from Alan. One of the best on the album. It's a really good track. Then we get Angel. I love David's drumming on this. It's a short chart track. Great vocal from Roy. Good stuff. Then we get Telephone. This is a nice ambient track. Fine vocal from Roy again. Really good. Far Away. Brilliant track. Some lovely keyboard work here from Alan. It's got an ambience feel to it. And then we get my favourite on here, Terrain. Some great piano here from Carmine. The frantic drum here, that really nice sound, really good track. Can't Stop You, a bit funky, it's alright. Then we get We, another solid track. Love the organ on this, and the drum sounds good, another good track. You're Alone, I like the start of this, it's kind of gentle, great vocal as ever from Roy. Then we get the title track, Man in the Moon, another killer track from the album. Some great guitars on here from Roy. Good track. Straight Jacket, again, that keyboard sound at the beginning is really good. It's got some lovely riffs on this. I really like this album, even though it's at number 11. It's got 8 super tracks on this. The others are a little bit weak, but I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.4. Okay, coming in at number 12, we've got the 10th album, and it's called Evolution, and it was released in 2004, and it's the first Nektar album since 1977's Magic is a Child to feature original drummer Ron Howden, who rejoined founding members Roy and Taff Freeman. So it's Roy, Alan, Ron Howden, and bass player on this is Randy Dembro. First track on here is Camouflage to White, another of those atmospheric rap tracks that Nektar are renowned for. Some lovely drumming here from Ron, really good drummer, love his stuff. It's just a really strong track. Old Mother Earth, solid track. Got some nice sounds on that one again. Child of Mine, love the start of this, it's eeriness. We've got some of Alan's really magical touches on the keyboards. Some great guitar from Roy, terrific track. Phased by the Storm, my favourite track. This has got a great bass line from Randy. Always get a good bass line on this, on these tracks. Some nice drumming from Ron. Nice phases from the keyboards, again, really good track. Always, I like this, it's got a sort of jazzy sort of feel to it, and it's got a little bit of old soul prog thrown in. I love this track, really good, strong track again. Dancing into the Void, solid. It's got some nice guitar work on that one, I do like that. The Debate, another epic. Some great drumming on this. It's one of them sort of modern prog tracks, really good. Then the last track, After the Fall, some wonderful piano work here from Alan, very ambient. Another great album, you know, it's now the 2000s and they're still making great music. It's a really strong album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, then coming in at number 11, we got the 13th album, and it's Time Machine, and it's the final album for Royce Albrighton before his death in July 2016. So it's Roy Albrighton on guitars, Ron Howden drums, Klaus Hensch on keyboards, and Billy Sherwood on the bass. First track on here is called A Better Way. Fantastic start to the track, proper progressive rock start, lots going on, some great drumming from Ron, lovely bass line from Billy on this, good track. Set Me Free, Amigo, I love the keyboards on this, Klaus, solid track. Destiny, lovely intro from Klaus and Roy, I just love the ambience of this, wonderful little track. If Only I Could, a nice little bit of guitar from Roy on this, the tones are right. Then the rest of the band come in, just solid, moody Hammond organ. Brilliant. The title track's my favourite track, Time Machine. That ambient acoustic guitar really sets it off. Then it beefs up some wonderful keyboards. I love this. It just builds up. Fantastic track. Then we get Tranquility, some nice guitar work here from Roy, one of his best. The drums again, it's just solid, it's just eerie, great sounding track. Mocking the Moon, it's a little bit different, it's got some nice guitar work on it, I quite like that track as well. Talk to Me, very interesting, the keyboard is really nice on this, ambient, the drumming from Ron is good and it's great stuff. Juggernaut, this is a jazzy fusion track, some great keyboards, great bass line from Billy, I love that track. And then we get another epic called Diamond Eyes. Again, it's got as many of these Nektar's songs, they go straight in, no intros, some nice acoustic guitars, some power chords thrown in, a great guitar solo, and probably a great and a best solo on here. Brilliant. Sterling album, and a great way for Roy to finish his career. He didn't know at the time, of course, but he went out on a high, so I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 10, we have the 9th album from 2001, and it's the Prodigal Son, and it was their first album in over 20 years. And it's got two of the founding members, Roy Albrighton on guitar and bass and lead vocals, Alan Taft Freeman on keyboards, and Ray Hardwick on the drums. First track is called Terminus and Oh My. This reminds me of the Dogs by Pink Floyd. I love the Terminus notes. In that intro, it's very similar to Dogs, and then it goes off in its own thing. But Oh My is just absolutely killer, absolutely brilliant track. It's got all them nice elements that you expect from Nektar. Then we get Now, again brilliant, some lovely keyboards here from Alan. It's got that ambience, and you got Roy playing the bass as well. All round guitar player, pretty good. I Can't Help You. Now this has got an interesting drum beat here from Ray. It's sort of different, but it fits in, and it's a great vocal from Roy. Lovely track. The Drinking Man's Wine, one of them nice gentle songs, just goes away, a nice place, lovely stuff. Then we get Shangri-La, a really good track. I like the sort of voices on here. The guitar solo is killer, really good. Then we get my favourite, I love the title as well, Salt and Vinegar Rhythm and Blues. It's a little bit different. The bass line is terrific on this, some great rock guitar, very good track. Then we get the Prodigal Son, lots of ambience on here, some nice keyboard runs on here, a really good vocal from Roy, terrific stuff. Then we get Be Tonight. I love that combination of the keyboards and acoustic guitar on here, great vocals from Roy as ever. Day 9. Now this starts off with a nice gentle acoustic guitar, and then he's halfway through he switches to the electric, and it just gets powerful and stronger, and an amazing guitar solo. Then the keyboard sort of give it that edge. It's a terrific track. That was the last track. A good album. 20 years in the waiting, but it's good, solid. I think Roy sounded good as he did back in the day. I really enjoy this album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, then coming in at number 9, we have the USA based Nektar. It's released in 2018. It's called The Other Side. Now this has got Raish Chandala on guitars, Kendall Scott on keyboards, Derek Moore on the bass, Randy Dembo on the bass and 12 string, and Ron Howden on the drums. First track on here is called I'm on Fire. Great track. The keyboard on this from Kendall is wonderful. It's got that Hammond sound. Some great guitars here from Reich. Ron's drumming is great. Always lovely to hear that. It's just a lovely track. Skywriter. I think Reich is a good vocalist. He sounds very similar to Roy. It's a really good track. It's probably his best singing on this album. Love Is the Other Side. I love this. This is a epic of 17 minutes. Love the start. It's got one of them lovely keyboard pieces here. Got some great bass from Derek Moore. Ron's drums are fantastic. It's just good old-fashioned prog for the 21st century. It's just an amazing piece of music. Drifting. It's very moody and dark. Some great guitar riffs in this. The bass line from Derek is amazing as well. Good stuff. Devil's Door, another good track. Nice rich keyboards. Terrific stuff. The Light Beyond. It's a little shortcut. Nice keyboard bits in here from Kendall. Like that. Look Through Me. Lovely acoustic guitars on this. Again, it's got a nice piano piece from Kendall. And the last track, Why I Can't Be More Like You. Now, I did say 2018, and I should have said it came out in 2020. What a pudding. But there you go, it's 2020 this came out. So this is a good track. Rich organ on it. Last track. Out of the two Splinter albums, this is the best one because it actually sounds like Nektar. The singer's pretty good, I think. I haven't got this. I only discovered it on. I found it on Spotify, but I really like this. I'm getting really into this album, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay then, coming in at number 8, we have the 11th album released in 2008, and it's called Book of Days. It saw the departure of founding keyboardist Taff Freeman, leaving only the two originals of Roy and Ron. So it's Roy on guitars and vocals, Ron on the drums, got Steve Adams on guitars and backing vocals, Steve Matten on Hammond organ and keyboards, and Desha Denahut on bass. First track on here is called Over Krakatoa. Love it at the start of this. There's always something great about a start of a Nektar record. Roy is awesome on here. Great vocals, some lovely guitars. Ron's drumming just gives it that edge. It's one of the best of their instrumental tracks of the later years. It's terrific. King of the Deep. Again, we start off with some rich Hammond organ, which really gives it that atmosphere. Then we go very gentle and muted halfway through, and then it comes back to life. Really good track. La Morna, an acoustic little piece from Roy. Very short but lovely. Dr. Cool, great track. My favourite bit is when you get the Hammond organ and the chunky guitars. 11 minutes of great stuff. The Iceman, another epic. Nice guitars on this one, and it builds up. You get this keyboard that really builds up with lots of ambience. Very good track. Then we get my favourite, which is another long track called Where Are You Now? I like how this, all of a sudden, halfway through, it changes tone with a great guitar solo. It's my favourite track. It's two sort of tracks glued together that works. Very good track. Book of Days, Between the Lines, another really acoustic number. I do love when we have these sort of songs. Lovely. Then we get Book of Days itself. Very ambient. Again, really nice song. Got some nice stabby keyboard. That's a nice way to end the album. This is probably one of my favourite albums of the newer Nektar. It's got so many elements of the old days on it. It's just got some epic tracks in this, and I love this album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. Quick swig. Okay, coming in number 7, we've got the 5th album now from 1974. And it's Down to Earth. So the credits are Roy Albrighton on lead guitars and vocals, and Mick Brockett on lights, Alan Taft Freeman on keyboards, Ron Howden on the drums, and Derek Momore on bass. First track on here is Astral Man. Very little bit different. There's a little bit of change of direction what the music was. It's got some great guitar work on here. I love the electric piano from Alan. It's really groovy. Let me get Nelly the Elephant. Not Nelly the Elephant, the kiddie song. It's nothing like the kiddie version. It's got some great keyboards from Alan on it though. Absolutely great. And Derek's bass line is terrific. Early Morning Clown. I love this track. Always have. Got some really nice keyboards. Lovely harmonies in this as well. Terrific track. That's Life. Not one of the best ones on the album, but I do love the Hammond organ. Then we got Fidgety Queen, a funky track with some horns, funky bass line. It's okay. Oh Willie, my favourite track on here. Some great guitar work from Roy on this. Little Boy, a really nice ambient acoustic track. Do like Nektar's acoustic tracks, they are really good. Show Me the Way. Alan's piano is brilliant in this. When you're expecting Elton John to start singing after that piano intro, that's how good it is. It's really poppy. It's a bit different. And then finale, a little bit of a funky track with some horns. A little bit different for the band. It's a bit more funky in places. There's nothing wrong with it because it's a really good album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 6, we've got the 7th album from 1977, and it's Magic is a Child, and it's one of only 2 albums released by Nektar without Roy Albrighton on his guitar and lead vocal. This featured Dave Nelson, who was on the other is the Other Side in 2020, of course. So, and the cover features a 13-year-old Brooke Shields. That's one of her first modelling jobs, so there you go. And they've got a guest appearance of Robert Fripp on The Train from Nowhere as well. So that's got all the people in the band thing. There was a quartet of strings as well. And so the first track is called Away from Asgard. Got some Christmas bells on this. A good vocal from Dave. It's pretty good. I like that. Magic is a Child. I really like this. This is one of my favourite tracks on the album. Great vocal. Again, I love the harpsichord sound from Alan. Really good. And then we get a track called Eerie Lackawanna. Great track. Real funky. Ron's drumming's great on this. Midnight Light. Love Derek's bass line. Really moody. Some great guitar on this as well. Love to Share and Keep Your Worries Behind You. One of them tracks that I don't like. I don't like the backward drumming on it. It doesn't sound right. Probably one of my least favourite Nektar songs of all time. The Train from Nowhere. Great track. It is my favourite. You can tell Robert Fripp's on it. It's an amazing guitar solo from him. Really good. And then we get Listen, an excellent track. Highlights on this are Alan's keyboards, that bass from Derek. Really good track. Then we get On the Run and the Trucker. A good track. Derek's bass line is the domination of it, the rich Hammond organ from Alan, and the final track is Spread Your Wings. Some great guitars here from Dave. Fantastic track. It's a good album considering it hasn't got Roy singing on it. I love this album, and I think Dave Nelson did a great job on this. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay, coming in at number 5, we got a 1975 now, and Recycled, and it is a concept album addressing the band's members about the environment. So even in 1975 we had people concerned about the environment. It's split into 2 tracks, part 1 and part 2. So the people playing on this are Roy Albrighton. We've got Mitten Bracken, visual environment. Don't know why we get some mention because he doesn't play anything. Alan Taft Freeman on the keyboards, Ron Howden on the drums, and Derek Moore on the bass. Got Larry Fast on Move synthesizer, and the English choral choir. So part 1's Recycled and is split into little bits. The first bit is Recycle. This starts off with some rumbling drums from Ron, and then comes Alan on the keyboards. Then cybernetic Consumption, absolutely killer bit this is. The guitar work from Roy is fantastic. Recycle Countdown, the vocal from Roy is good, short and atmospheric. Then we get Automatron Horoscope, my favourite bit of part 1. It's got a great vocal from Roy, and they got a lovely drum beat from Ron. Recycling takes the tempo down to a nice gentle place. Lovely vocal on that one. Fight to Reality, some strong riffs from Roy. Rumbling of the drums again. Ron's good at rumbles. Then Endless Imagination, great drumming again, nice piano work from Alan, one of my favourite parts on here. And then the whole of side 2, Recycled part 2, is just amazing. We've got Sao Paulo Sunrise, classic prog rock here. Love the choral and the guitars. Costa del Sol, great bass line from Derek. Some incredible drumming from Rom on that. Marvelous Moses, some great work here from Roy on the guitar. Absolutely amazing. And then It's Over, which is the finale to the whole piece. I think this is why part 2 is my favourite. It just got this lovely keyboards, and it builds up into a crescendo. It just fades away. This is classic Nektar. These top 5 albums, there's not much between them. This is a fantastic piece of rock music, and it's very underrated, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, coming in at number 4 from 1973 November, Remember the Future. Again, it's a concept album which is formally divided into 10 tracks, but is a continuous piece of music. So on here it's Roy Albrighton, Alan Taft Freeman, Derek Moore, and Ron Howden. Remember the Future Part 1. The start of this is really got a funky piece of guitar, great vocal, as well as towards the middle of the part you get some heavier guitar riffs from Roy. The drumming in the middle is wonderful, and all through this you've got some great interplay between Ron and Alan, drums and keyboards, very psychedelic in places. And then part 2, which is my favourite part of this. The first bit is a gentle acoustic guitar from Roy, and then it goes into this harmonious vocal thing before everything starts building up the tempo, The crescendo comes with some lovely bass work and keyboards. It's absolutely a fantastic piece of music. I do love playing this. Played a lot. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, then coming in at number 3, we got the third album that came out in June 73, so they released 2 in 73, and it's called Sounds Like, and it was the first Nektar album to be released in the United Kingdom, and it was an attempt to recreate the band's live sound. So on here we've got Roy Albrighton, Alan Taff Freeman, Derek Moore and Ron Howden, and Mike Brockett does the lights, as ever. So the first track on this one is called Good Day. It's got one of my favourite guitar solos on here in a Nektar song. It's a mega track. It's a great track all round. New Day Dawning, the start of this is just incredible, and an ambient guitar sound to get some lovely keyboards and mellotron and a supreme vocal. What you're going to do, really funky. This is the first time you got some really funky stuff from Roy. I love the tap on the side of the drums from Ron. Really gives it, it's quite bluesy and funky. I love this track. Then we get another epic called 1, 2, 3, 4. Starts on with some great guitar work. I love how this builds up. Again, they knew how to put the extra layers on. Ron's drumming through this is absolutely brilliant. Great song. But my favourite track on here, and it's one of the more commercial songs, and it's called Do You Believe in Magic? I think it's just got a catchy guitar riff. I just love the ending of this. It just slows down gradually. Really good track. Then we get Cast Your Fate. This is a more sort of ambient track. Killer Hammond organ on this. Always gets me. Then we get A Day in the Life of a Preacher. Got some lovely guitar at the beginning of this. The drums from Ron all the way through is brilliant, as long as with Derek's bass line. Then you got this solo in the middle that sort of cranks it up. Absolutely brilliant track. And then we get Wings, really nice track, lovely harmonies on this, just absolutely killer. Then we get Odyssey. It's a jazzy sort of fusion track. The tempo builds up. The drumming in this is awesome. The bass from Derek, it just sees what great musicians these were. This is a double album, of course, and it's one of those double albums that hasn't got any filler. Every track is great. Doesn't happen very often, and I love playing this, and it's an album you have to put on all the way through. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.7. Okay then, coming in at number 2, we have the debut album from 1971, Journey to the Centre of the Eye. A continuous piece of music split into 13 little tracks. It's Roy Albrighton, Mick Brockett on the liquid lights, that's a good one. Alan Taff Freeman on mellotron and pianos and keyboards. Ron Howden on the drums. Derek Moore on mellotron and bass. Keith Walters on static slides. You can't see this, and DTA Dirk's additional piano. So as I said, it's split into little pieces. So piece 1 is a very short piece called Prelude. Got some little sound bites of keyboard and guitar, and it builds up to the first track, which is called Astronaut's Nightmare. The mellotron on this is brilliant. I love mellotron. Got some nice bass on here, nice drumming. What more do you want? Continents, just spaced out, wonderful ambient keyboards, delicate touches on the guitars. Really good stuff. The Nine Lifeless Daughters of the Sun. Great bass line here from Derek. The lovely over the tones on the keyboards from Alan are fantastic. Little intricate bits of guitar. Warp oversight. This reminds me of that middle part of Pink Floyd's Echoes with all them sound bites, little heartbeats. Absolutely killer piece that is. Then we get the Dream Nebula one, very psychedelic, space rock, prog space mixture. Really is. It's very short, but it's really good. Then we get the Dream Nebula 2. It just continues on from Dream Nebula. Because in the old days you got Dream Nebula 1 was side, the last track on side 1, so you flip it over and it continues. Literally just continues. But when you hear it on the CD, it flows into each other really well. That's a great piece. Then it's All in the Mind, another piece of great psychedelia. I'm sure the effects on this was brilliant that the two guys did. It would have been interesting to see this live, because you can feel the way we're doing. You can imagine the slides and all that. It would have been a fantastic piece. And my favourite track is Burnt Out the Eyes. It's a little mini epic. It's got all that spice and echoey sound to it. Really is good. Then you have this great rock frenzy from Roy on the guitar. Has a bit of a frenzy fit, and then it just slows down again. It's a terrific track. Then we get the Void of Vision. Another, after you've had that frenzy burnout, you've got this nice gentle ambient sound. You know, really nice. The Pupil of the Eye. And now we're going back into some more frenzy, but it's Ron that's on the drums that's really going for it this time. Absolutely killer. Then we get this little thing called Look Inside Yourself. Very short piece of bass and keyboard thing. Really nice tones. Then we get Death in the of the Mind, my second favourite piece on this. It starts off with that frenzy again, some simple power chords, and then it just fades into nothing. To me, this is one of the most underrated debut albums of all time. It's just a fantastic piece of music. I play this again a lot because I just love it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.9. But my favourite album by Nektar, my number one, always has been. First time I heard this, it blew me away. From 1972, their second album, A Tab in the Ocean. Roy Albright, I got me rocking doing all the lights and projections on an album, yeah. Alan Taff Freeman, Derek Moore and Ron Howden. Opens up with the title track, A Tab in the Ocean. This is the best thing that sung by Nektar. The start of this is a little bit like reminds me of the Genesis song The Knife. Got some lovely mellotron on this. The bass of Derek is just amazing, and I love that middle bit. That vocal from Roy really gets you hooked in. The backing vocals from the rest of the guys sounds great. The drumming from Ron all the way through this, different speeds, different tones, but he never drops a beat. But the best bit of this is the keyboards towards the end by Alan. It's absolutely amazing. This is just a great track. Takes up the whole of side one. Absolutely amazing. So we go swift over to side two, Desolation Valley. I love the different layers of music on here. The keyboards, the gentle guitars, the aggressive guitar, the keyboard and the drums and the keyboards work well together. Then we get this short little thing called Waves. After the Desolation Valley, this just takes you down and brings you back down to earth with some ambient sounds. Fantastic track. Crying in the Dark, we're rocking away again. It's a great vocal from Roy, but it's that Derek bass line that drives the song. Really good solo in this one as well. King of the Twilight. I love the start of this. You've got some lovely harmonies. Rich Hammond organ coming in. A great vocal. That's a great track to end the album. Once again, a very underrated album from 1972, because there's lots of great albums from 72, but this is just a piece of genius work. This is where it really came together for them. I think they got everything right. I mean, the whole catalogue is brilliant, but this one just is second to none. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Well, we've already got one of these albums in the Battle of the Debuts. Battle of the Debuts, the Battle Royale, sorry. And that album is Remember the Future Now. Remember to the Future. But do you think one of the others should go in? Give Nektar a bit of competition. If you think so, go to this wonderful, find this thumbnail in the playlists. Go and put your nomination in. You got till the 17th of September. Okay, that's all for now. I'll be back tomorrow, where we have got another Battle of the Debuts, and it's a power metal one again. And this one's between two of the great power metal bands from America, Dream Theater and Symphony X. And tomorrow we've got a DVD review, and it's the brilliant Talk live from Montreux. And then don't forget, tomorrow it is live stream day. So have a great day, everyone. I'm now going to be watching the World Cup semi-final between Australia and England, so good luck to the Lionesses. Have a great day, everyone, and bye for now.